Hello friends, this is tutorial number 61 in this Turbo Pascal programming language tutorials. In this tutorial we will create one game. We will have a player, we will have a record player, and it has just one field score. The point is we want to enter some number, and we will have a array of the 10 players. For example, if we type number 1, it will be player 1 will win the point, and the same thing will be for number 2, number 3, but of course we can enter larger numbers, but the point is the last number. If we type, for example, 125, it will be just player 5 will win the point, and the same thing will be if number ends with 6, it will be player 6 will win the point, and if the number ends with 0, player 10 will win the point. But I will show you how it will gonna look. First we will need type, and we will have player, which will be a record, and it will have a field score, which will be an integer. And we will need just one player. We will call it variable p1, which will be player. And we will have variable x, which will be an integer. And we will have array of players. It will be array. We will have 10 players of player. That should be fine. And now we need a procedure to create a player, and of course we will create array of 10 players. The name of the procedure will be create player. We will have a local variable p, which will be player. And let's create begin and end of this procedure, and a local variable is p, which will be a player. We will type with p do, and we need begin and end again. And let's define a score. Score at the beginning of the game, score will be of each player will be 0. And now let's create for loop 4. We have variable x, which is an integer. X equals 1 to 10, because we will have 10 players. Do begin and end. And we will define because we will have a score will be 0, and now we will just we define score as 0, and we will type player, it will be players of element x, will be equals to p. P is our player, which is a local variable. A score is defined, and with this we will have a for loop, and it will be created array of 10 players. I think this should be enough. And now what we can do, we can create procedure for the game. This procedure will be just to create this array for us of 10 players. And now let's create a procedure. And it will be a game. But I think... Okay, we will see. Maybe I will need just one more variable integer, but we will see. Procedure will be a game, and we will have a variable p, which will be player. And let's create begin and end of this procedure. We have p, which is a player. We will type with p do and we will have begin and end of this procedure. And I think we will need one more integer, which will be epsilon. And let's create, let's start our game. We will write enter the number, but we will entering the number, but we will enter until we type, until we will entering the numbers until we enter -1, and this means that we will need a repeat until loop. Repeat until epsilon equals -1. Okay, we will entering the number, and we will read a line epsilon. But as I already explained, if we type, for example, number 0, player 10 will win the point. It will be just 1 point. If we enter number 5 or any number which ends with 5, 25, 55, 125, player 5 will win the point. And it will be until we enter -1. And how we gonna do it? We will enter the epsilon, but when we enter the epsilon, we need to redefine it using a mod operator. Epsilon will be equals to epsilon mod 10. We already use mod operator. I'm pretty much sure that you remember. And for example, if we enter the number 125, epsilon will be redefined to 5. And how we gonna do? our players start, we have a list of 10 players from 1 to 10. Player 1, player 2, player 3. And how we gonna do? We already created our array of players. And for example, if we enter 125, okay, epsilon will be redefined as a 5. And player, it means that player 5 will win the point. And in array we have 10 players from player 1 to player 10. And if epsilon is 5, player 5 will win the point. That means we will take players of element epsilon dot score will be equals to players of element epsilon dot score, and it will be increased by 1. Pretty much simple. And we need to write a message it will be we'll type player and we will type epsilon and we'll type won the point. Pretty much simple. And now when it means we already defined if player score, for example, will increase by 1 depending of our number in epsilon. It is a number that we will entering, and it will be until we enter -1. And just a second, it will be good, and we can just write a line, just a little space. I think it should be good. And now we will entering, if we enter -1, the loop will stop. And now what we need to do, we will need for loop again. For x equals 1 to 10. Now what we want to do, we want to print all of these players and their score. Do, and we need begin and end of this for loop. And what we will type. We will write line player, and we will use variable x. X start with 1. First we will have score of the player 1, but we will use write should be enough, and in the next line we will use write line. First we will write a player, and after that we will need a little of space, but maybe we can type it here. And here we will write score, and player of element, it will be players of element x dot score, because it will show us the score. It will start from player 1, we will have player 1 and player 1 score. It will be printed, and it will be printed the score of all players. And I think this should be good. And now we will need to call these procedures. We created two procedures, and let's create begin and end of this application. Let's create read line, and we need to call these procedures. First we will call the procedure create player, and we created one variable, one player, which is p1, and this should be enough for this application. We will use that p1. And also we will call another procedure, which is game, and also we will use a p1 player. And now let's compile to see if we have some errors. Okay, we need to type 2.equal. Let's compile again. Okay, it should be enough. Now let's try to run this. Enter the number, but we don't have the message, or I forgot to write. Okay, let's start. Number 4. Okay, player 4 won the point, but I need to write the message enter -1 for exit. Okay, number 6, number 3, as you can see, player 3. Let's try with 0. Okay, but okay, I didn't. Okay, I need to check that. But okay, let's enter -1. As you can see, we have a scores. Player 3 1 point, player 4 1 point, player 6 1 point. Okay, player 10. I need to change here. When we enter number 0, player 10 need to won the point. The rest should be fine, and let's see what can we do. Okay, just a second. What we have here? I will need just a second. Okay, y equals to y mod 10. That is good, but I need to create one control statement here, and it will be if y equals to 0, and then I will need begin and end of this control statement, and y will be equals to epsilon plus 10 should be fine. I think that should be okay. And here I need to just a second enter the we have entered the number, and we need to write line enter -1, but not here. For end. Okay. This will be a message. Or to finish it. This should be okay. Now let's clear this and we will see how it will gonna look. Okay, enter the number, enter -1 to finish. I think it is better. Number 2, okay, player 2 won the point, but let's enter number 60. Okay, here it is, player 10 won the point, enter number 0, and player 10 won the point, which is good, that is what we needed. Number 9, okay, as you can see, player 9 won the point, 33, player 3 won the point, 53, okay, again, player 3 won the point, and let's enter -1. Okay, here it is, player 3 2 points, score 2, player 9 score 1, player 10 score 2, and this is good. This is what we wanted. Depending of the number that we will enter, the player score will increase depending of the number epsilon, of course. And this is great. This works fine. Now, but this is a game, and we have 10 players, and of course we need to have a winner of this game. And we will create procedure. We will call it winner. Procedure. It will be winner. And let's find the winner, but we need more variables. Okay, we have x, epsilon, which is integer. We will need maximum and index. Okay, two more variables for that. And let's create our procedure, and of course it will have variable p, which will be player. And let's create begin and end of this procedure, and we'll type with p do, and we will need begin and end, and let's find the winner. But first, what we will do, maximum we will define it maximum with 0. And let's create for loop for x equals 1 to 10 do begin and end of this for loop. And let's create a control statement. If players of element x dot score is greater than maximum, maximum will be equals to players of element x dot score. We are iterating over this array of players. and we want to find the player with maximum score, and P, which is a player, P will be equals to players of element X, and that should be fine. We have our player, and now we need to write a message, but one more thing. Why we need the index? Because we want to know which is the player with this. Now we find here, we just find a maximum. It will show us the maximum, and it will be the score. If some, okay, it can be, okay, player can won with 10 points, 20 points, with 5 points, it doesn't matter, but we will just know the number of points of the winner. But we still don't know which player is that. Okay, it will be player P, but we need to find the index. And how we gonna do that? We need another control statement, if but we are still in this for loop. And how we gonna do it? If maximum equals, now we know which is the maximum, equals to players of element X dot score, then, and here, just a second, here I have a control statement. If players of element X dot score is greater than maximum. I saw that I forgot then, and again here I needed begin, and here, because this is a control statement and we forgot begin and end, and of course we will need begin and end here in this control statement. Okay, we have this if maximum equals to player of element X. Okay, we are iterating over this array of players. Let's define index will be equals to X, and this is pretty much simple. Okay, if player 6 has a maximum score, index will be equals to 6, and this is important. We can at the end write a message which player will win, and let's do it now. But just a second, where for loop starts here, this is, but just one thing, it's my this just a second, this control statement, let's copy this control statement. This control statement need to be inside the for loop. It's my mistake, but I will not use copy, let's use cut, and let's place it here inside the control statement, and it's not good. Let's fix this. Begin will be here, and will be here, and let's move this index. Okay, now it is good. These control statements need to be inside the for loop. And after this for loop finish, we can write first, let's give a little space, and let's write the message. Right, okay, maybe we can use write first. player, and we need index. He has won the game or won the game, just. Won the game, and let's continue. Right line. Width. We can write width, and here right line. What we need, we define a player with maximum points, and let's write p dot score and points. Okay, I think that should be fine. Okay, we will see. If we have some error, we will fix it, and we need to call this procedure winner, and it will be P1. Now, what can we do? We can compile this first. Let's clear this and let's compile. Okay, we don't have errors for now, but we need to see how it will gonna run. Okay, enter the number and enter -1 to finish. Okay, let's start. 5, 25, 11, okay, 3, 99, 86, 56, okay, I used 565, it doesn't matter, 46, 86, 90, 96, 126, 206, and 1006, 22, and okay, it's enough. Minus, I will enter -1, and let me see. Okay, we have a score of the player 1, 1 point, player 2, 1 point, player 3, 1 point. Okay, we have player 6 with 7 points, and as you can see, player 6 won the game with 7 points, and this is good. This is all that we wanted. I think this works fine, and let's try it. Let's try again. Okay, let's run. Okay, let's enter number 20, and as you can see, player 10 won the point. 45, 25, 0. Of course, we can enter negative numbers, -30. Player 10 will won the point, because for us it is just important with which number ends a number, and let's enter number 6, number 57, 20 again, 50, 100, 1000, 3000, 47, 48, and I'm tired. I will enter -1. And let's see, player 1, okay, player 5 has 2 points, player 6 1 point, player 7 2 points, player 8 1. As you can see, player 10 has 8 points, and player 10 won the game with 8 points, and this means this game works, and it works well. Okay, what can I tell you? Okay, pretty much interesting, and it is not too hard. As you can see, like in the previous applications, we define everything with procedures. You remember when I told you procedure is maybe my most important thing in the Turbo Pascal. As you can see, we can we can create entire application with procedures, and we just, as you can see, we created 3 procedures, and just a second, and we just called it. Okay, here in the main begin, and then we just call, we created 3 procedures, and okay, and we use this one variable to call the procedure. It works like a charm. Okay, you can see once again this application. Okay, we created a record player, array, and couple of variables, and okay, here is the procedure to create a player, to create an array player and array of 10 players, and after that we use entering the number epsilon to start our game, and pretty much simple. In the end, we define score. A score of each player starts with 0, but depending of the number of which number we will enter, player score will increase by 1, and in the end we will write the player and the player score. And the last procedure is just we will iterate again over this array of players, and we will find we found the player with maximum score, and depending on that which player has the maximum score, we will have this message. Of course, we use the variable index. First we define the maximum here, and we define the player with maximum score, and we use it here in this control statement when if maximum and score of the player are equals. We defined our variable index with this x, because we used for loop to iterate over this array of 10 players, and just in the end we write the message which is the player with the maximum score. Pretty much simple, and I really hope that you understand and that you like this application. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. You can also follow me on Twitter and Instagram. You have a link in the description, and I will see you in the next tutorial.